So welcome in. This is a session on mixed abilities that if you get right, you will create harmony in your group, you'll get people wanting to come back and do more, and everybody will be challenged to their level. So I'd like to introduce to you parallel and modified activities. Okay. Parallel and modified activities. Now this goes hand in hand with the step principle that we've discussed before in organisation. If you haven't seen that video, head back to Organisation 1, the step principle. So parallel and modified activities. Now parallel and modified activities are used in the disability space, but they're also used for coaches who deliver lots of large mixed ability groups, and they're essential because what you need to find is that you need to challenge everybody. And inevitably, mixed ability groups means you will have somebody that's more developed and somebody who's less developed, and you'll have a range of people in between. Now, you have to be able to cater for everybody, and there's a couple of ways of doing it. So we can have parallel activities. Now, parallel means we are going to be working side by side like this. Okay, so we've got players down here, we've got players up here, and they're working with a partner, or they're working in a three, or whatever, like this, but they're working in parallel. So what this means is same theme at different levels. Okay, so what that means is that this pair here, this one, if you like, pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, they're all doing the same thing, but they're all doing it at slightly different levels. So for example, this might be that the first pair are in 1 minute trying to get a rally of 10. They're trying to get a rally of 10 as well. Maybe they're getting 8, 8, 6, 6, 4, for example. So we're all doing the same activity, but parallel side by side. Okay, so this is a way where we can make sure everybody's doing it to the right level. But what will happen in this session is that it will group people. So it's good and it's bad, because it's good because it will group people. So like, for example, over here, you've got people roughly of a similar level, and you've got these people here roughly of a similar level, for example. Okay, so it's good in terms of they're at the levels, but it's grouped them. Okay, so we have to be mindful. We don't want to create groups that are always like groups within groups all the time. We want to, in our group sessions, have a feeling, have an atmosphere in the group, which means that I'll help you, you'll help me, and actually we'll all work together. So actually we want the players here being able to work with the players here at some point during the session. Now clearly, if your group session has players that are like way up here and players that are much lower, then that's not suitable for the group, right? So they might need to move to a different group or keep them in a parallel activity. If we're all in the same band but are of slightly mixed abilities, which inevitably will happen, then we use something called modified. So I'm going to modify the activity. Now, if you remember, space, task, equipment and players, if we were to take space, for example, then, and I take a court here, now it could be tennis, could be paddle, okay, but we're just taking a court, so I'm just going to draw out a court area. Now, if I've got a player over here, and let's just say we're working down the line like this, whatever, okay, or we've got a player over here, a player over there, it doesn't matter, all right. Space, let's say that this person up the top here is more able, and this is less able here, okay, so based on what they can do. Now this more able player might be asked to hit the ball into a certain spot, so they might only be asked to, let's say for example, I'm just creating some space on the court, they might be asked to hit just into this space here, so it's more challenging for them in their sending skill, whereas this player might be asked and told that they could hit anywhere they like on that side of the court. So we could get two players working at different levels on the same activity based on sending skills. Now, what happens nicely here is that actually this player down here only has to receive the ball in this area, so they don't have to run very far, whereas this one okay, has now got to run and cover a much bigger distance. So simply by sending and changing the space, it means that actually we can challenge two players at different levels. Now we could also change the task. Okay, so we've done space, we could change task, and actually you could do the two simultaneously. You could do the two overlapping each other. But let's take task. So task is usually around numbers or skills or bounces, for example. Okay, so if we were to take numbers, let's say that in I'm playing you and you're the more able player, I'm less able. I might, in a certain rally, have to achieve a task 3 times, okay, and you have to achieve it 5 times, okay. So that could be hitting a space, could be recovering back to the middle, could be whatever it is. But I've got a slightly different target compared to you. The skills could be different. I could be asked to do, I could do anything. Whereas you have got to do a certain skill. So that might be slice the ball or play it slow or any other different skill that you might be practicing. Bounces is another way of modifying. So we could modify, and let's say, for example, I could have 2 bounces and you have 1 bounce. Maybe if it's paddle, I'm allowed another bounce after the glass, for example. So it can touch the glass, bounce again and hit it back. So we can change task and space or do the 2 things together to create a modified way of playing. So I believe that when we change activity, mostly in our group sessions, we want to be focusing with parallel and modified. Learn to become a master of changing your group up regularly, rotating players and challenging them to their level. Tell us about how you get on with parallel and modified activity. How do you get on with mixing and rotating your players? Have you got any great examples you could share and help anybody else out?